And hello YouTube, welcome to this video. So last time we talked about a little bit about testing, and we have actually, I suppose before we go on, we just want to make an observation. Yes, we have done quite a fair bit of work. And as you can see, there's a lot of programming and stuff. It'd be quite a shame if all of this suddenly gets deleted or disappears by accident. Yeah, so we all know that saving our work is very important. Yeah, so one habit I often like to do is to just instinctively press Control S if I'm like working on a Word document or something like that. Okay, or Writer. Okay, I like to use LibreOffice rather than Microsoft Office. So yeah, even VS Code you can also press Control S a lot. However, yeah, what if you save over, okay, if what if your new edits, your new edits sort of are wrong and you want to so-called roll back to an older version, right? So like I was doing this this thing, right? This finding pressure function for Ping Robinson equation. So let's say I made some edits to it and then I've decided, hey, those edits are rubbish or wrong. I want to go back to an older version. Can you do that? Yes, you can. So, and then of course, I don't just want to have I, I would like not just to have no my file safe. I want them to be backup. I want to back up my files to some sort of cloud server. Maybe it could be OneDrive, Google Drive. I don't know what, but yeah, I just want to back them up. Well, you can use those OneDrive and Google Drive methods, but for programming in general, there is something that's catered specifically for people who program, and that is called Git. Okay, Git is a version control system, so it basically, the way I like to understand it and put it, and sort of put it in a very the most simplest way possible, is that it's a save file. It's a way for you to save your work. So you not just save on the file level, you save on the folder level. Now that's of course oversimplifying what Git does. Git can do so much more than that. But it's good for someone who's new to actually start off Git by, hey, yeah, to start off Git by, hey, let's say we'll start with something simple. Yeah. So that's what we want to do today. Just have a brief introduction to Git. So before we start Git, let me just give you a framework with which to start understanding what Git might do. Okay, so I'm going to make a new Word file or open of a new Word file or writer file, doc. Okay, I'm going to make this new folder, and then of course I'm going to create a new LibreOffice writer. Okay, so this is the equivalent of Microsoft Word, but it's a Linux version. Well, technically, you can do it on Windows and Mac as well. It's a cross-platform sort of free office suite, and it's yeah, it performs pretty well. It's not the latest, but it's free and you can get the basic things done. Can do ODT and docs documents. So I guess 90% of the formatting will stay, but other than that, maybe not. Okay, so let's just do this new file. I'll just call this a new file .odt. Okay, so I'm going to open LibreOffice, and this is just to give you something familiar. Okay, so this is LibreOffice, and what we want to do is, hey, let's say this is my document. I'm going to start the file and just call this is my document. Okay, then I instinctively press Control S because I want to save it. Okay, so this is edit 1. Okay, let's say this is my content. Okay, so if I want to save this, I just use Control S and it will save. I instinctively press Control S to save my document. Now, if I make 2 more edits, okay, let's say content 2, blah blah blah, okay, and content content 3. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, so to save it, you just press Control Save, and basically what LibreOffice does is to, hey, I'll look at this whole file, I'll take all of this content which is being highlighted now, and I'll overwrite the old version of the file. And that's basically what saving does. Now, can you do this on the file level? Okay, on the folder level. So let's say you have this new file. You just made a new file, and then you want to save this new file, right? You want to save this new file. So yeah, you can use Git to do that. Okay, you can use Git to do that. So let me show you. Well, maybe let me explain from the word from this. Okay, from this using this Word document or somewhat of that. Yeah. So how Git helps you save a local copy of your folder. Okay, so it says a local copy of your folder. So let's say I have a folder file 1, file 2, and file 3. Okay, and all of these files are new. Okay, so the way that Word does it is to actually so-called, when you press the Control S button, it so-called assumes that you want to save all of these files, file 1, file 2, and file 3. It will assume that you want to save all of these files, and then it will overwrite all the local copy. So what that does is what Git does is basically it does that at the folder level. So Git will actually store a local copy, so to speak, of all your file data in this .git folder. So every time you tell Git to save all your files, you will actually so-called, or Git will actually take all these files, it will do something to the content, and it will save it in a .git folder. Okay, in a .git folder. Now how so that is basically what happens. Okay, but the thing is, Git may not know which file you want to save. Okay, Git allows you, I mean, when you do Word document, okay, Word document will assume you want to save all your changes. But Git, for Git, there's a much finer level of control you can do. So you can actually tell Git, or you're supposed to tell Git, hey, what files do I want to save to this Git folder? So let's say I only want to save file 1 and file 3, right? So what I need to do is to tell Git, hey, I want to save file 1 and file 3. I'll mark it first. Okay, so I'll highlight it. Okay, steps to using Git. First, mark files that you want to save. Okay, your first step, what you want to do is to mark files that you want to save. So this is the equivalent of saying, hey, I want to save this content right here, and I want to save this content right here, and then I want to save it to the file. Whatever changes I make to content 2, I don't want to save. So you can actually selectively save your files. So that's what you do with Git. You sort of tell Git, hey, I want to save these files. Then your second step is to actually save the files. Okay, actually save the files. So when you actually save the files, you will Git will actually take file 1 and file 3, which you just highlighted, and you'll save it into the Git folder. All right. So how does this actually work? Okay, unfortunately, if you're not used to command line, you will have to start using command line. Okay, you will have to start using command line if you really want to use Git to its fullest potential. Of course, VS Code actually gives you an option to use a graphical user interface, so you don't always have to use command line, but Git is by nature a command line tool, and this is the basic stuff that you do with Git. Okay, so the concept is you mark files you want to save, and then you save your files to the .git folder. Okay, so that's how Git kind of works overall. Okay, on the local copy. Now, of course, you can do a cloud storage as well. That will come later. But let me demonstrate how this is done. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I'm going to make 2 more files here. Create new okay, file 1, and I'll make this is an empty file. I'll make a I'll create a new calc file, which is like my sheet.ods. This is like a calculation sheet, and then I'll make a blank presentation. Okay, .odp. Okay, what you need to do now is actually open this open your terminal over here. Okay, you will have need to install Git before. So if you are on Windows, which I assume most of you are, otherwise while you're watching, you might not be watching a tutorial on Git, but Git install for Windows. Okay, yeah, Git install for Windows. So on Windows there is a way to do it. Git for windows.org. Okay, go here and you download your Git for Windows. And you should be able to follow their instructions, and then you will get it done from there. So this link you'll need to visit, and you need to download Git on Windows. There are many tutorials that help you do that, but yeah, you need to do it for Windows if you happen to be on the Windows platform. Okay, on Linux you will use the Linux methods of installing Git, which you either use sudo pacman install Git or sudo apt install Git. Okay, so let me just put my instructions down here. Okay, let me minimize this. Okay, instructions for Git install. On Windows, use the website. On Ubuntu or Debian, I'll just do Ubuntu, sudo apt install Git. On Arch-based systems like mine, Arch-based systems, sudo pacman as Git. Okay. So these are some of the ways you install Git. These two are separate Linux distributions, so there are different ways of doing it. But on Windows, you use the website, okay? And then you just follow the instructions. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to try actually using Git in front of you. So what you need to do here is to open your terminal. So let me see whether I can find my terminal. Okay, hold on. I'm used to doing it through command line, but I need to find it in the file. Okay, so I mean for KDE Plasma, this is my folder. You know, it's uses a Dolphin file manager. Normally, what you do is in Windows, you will right click and then you can open Git Bash here or something like that, or open a terminal there. For this, well, Linux distribution, what I do is I'll open a terminal here using this drop down menu. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so I'll have to introduce you a little bit to the terminal since I'm already here. Okay, so one of the first things you do in terminal is, if not, well, besides staring blankly at this terminal and you don't know what to do, of course, it can be very intimidating and confusing, but let me try helping you not get lost around the terminal. Okay, so I'll try not to use commands until I explain them. I'll do the best I can. But yeah, so basically, I will have a graphical user interface on this side, and then I'll do the terminal things on this side. All right, and then of course, I'm inside my terminal on this folder. Okay, so what's the most important thing when you start using the terminal? Okay, you want to actually find your way around. You need to navigate. So first thing first is that you want to view what files are inside your current folder. Okay, so this command to do that, okay, is called ls or list. Okay, it lists all the file that you have in the current folder. So ls, okay, type the ls command, and then you'll see there's a blank presentation.odp. file1.odt, mysheet.ods, and new file.odt. So all the files are listed here. No problem. Okay. So again, ls. So if you are on Windows, these commands are slightly different if you use the command prompt. But if you use PowerShell, most of the commands that you use for a Linux-like shell, like what I'm using now, most of them will be the same. So ls is that. So if you want to clear your terminal because now things are getting crowded, use the clear command. Okay, so clear space, and as you can see, it will clear up the terminal. So again, ls to list the files here, and clear to clear up your terminal. Okay, so clear and ls are your first two things I want to sort of introduce to you. Okay, so these are the bare basics you need to have. Okay, so now the next thing, since I'm really on Git, right? I'm on Git, so I just want to focus my terminal usage to Git. Okay, so the Git command is very simple. You just type the three words Git, all small letters, do not press space, do not capitalize, do not anything, just git, Git, and enter. If you have installed Git, this is somewhat of the output that you should see. Okay, somewhat of the output that you should see. Usage Git, and then all of these things are here. Okay. Okay, so again, let me clear this up. So if you don't know what to do with Git, just type Git, and you will see all of these things come up. Now, of course, if you look at all these commands here, you can get quite intimidated. That is totally normal because you're not used to the terminal interface. So let's try making some sense of this mess first. Okay, we'll go to our so-called new file.odt. Remember what we are talking about just now? Okay, the two steps to using Git are to mark the files that you want to save and to save the files to the Git folder. So this is the concept that we want to do here. So this is our goal. Now I'll close this and I'll open up the terminal. So remember, we want to mark the files that we want to save. Okay, and then we'll save it to the .git file. Okay, to the .git file. So let me clear. Let me ls here. So these are the files here: blank presentation, file1, my sheet, and new file. All right. Again, blank presentation, file1, my sheet, and new file. These are the 4 files here. So we need to, of course, mark the files for saving. So the way to do it is to use git add. Okay, git add, git space add. Okay, so if you type git again, okay, you will see add file contents to index. This is the command you need to type. Okay, I'm gonna clear. So I'm gonna try git adding some of these files here, and I'm going to run into an error. Let me show you shortly. So let's say I want to save file1 and new file.odt. Okay, so what do? Git add. So git space add. Okay, so I want this file1.odt. So I need to type out file_1.odt. So this is how you mark file1 for saving. Now, if I run this command, there's going to be an error. Okay. Why? Because it says it is not a Git repository. Okay, so when you start Git and you want to mark a file to save it, and it's not a Git repository, you will run into this problem. So what is this Git repository thing? Okay, what is this Git repository thing? So again, remember, let's go back to our model of what a Git folder might look like. You have a file1, file2, file3, and then you have a .git folder. Now, inside a Git repository, okay, what makes a Git repository different from other file systems or folders? It is this .git folder right here. Now, what is actually inside the .git folder? It depends on what you want to save to it. But first thing first, you have to make sure the .git folder is there. Okay, so to start, to create this .git folder, you need to do the following. Okay, so if there's no .git folder, you have to make a .git folder. So how do you make the .git folder? Okay, the way to make the .git folder is to use the git init command. So git init. So this initiates and makes this .git folder. Okay. As you can see here, I have hidden files and folders enabled. The .git folder is created. Normally, in Windows, you will not have the hidden files and folders. You will not have the hidden files and folders so-called made, or you will not have the hidden files and folders so-called shown. So you have to ensure that these hidden files and folders are somehow already available. That means you can see them. Okay, and let me close the other tabs because it's a little too many tabs here. Okay, so you need to make sure the hidden files and folders are available. So let me clear up. Okay, if there's some error there, don't worry about it. We'll deal with that later. And don't worry about all the stuff over here. You might notice that your terminal is not going to look like mine, because for me, I use the Z shell, and I've kind of converted my Z shell to look a bit nicer, and it's more convenient for me. You might see something like this. Okay, like a bash is very, very clear and simple, but the commands are more or less the same. Okay. Oops, sorry, I forgot to introduce git status. So ignore that one. It's a muscle reflex. Okay, pardon me. So this is just now. Yeah, you might look at your terminal and it will be like this. But okay. Yeah, you might look at your terminal and you'll see something much more plain than this, but don't worry about it. Okay, the commands are more or less the same. Okay, so well, we have made this a git folder. Okay, and we have made this git folder. And let me type the ls command. Okay, again, because the file is hidden, your ls command, by and large, mostly it will not show the hidden files and folders. Now, if you want ls to show the hidden files and folders, you can use ls-a. See, if you type ls-a, it will show all the folders, including the hidden file and folder. These two, the dot and dot folders, just ignore it. What I want you to focus on is this .git file or .git folder. So remember, the idea is that we want to mark files for saving, so to speak, using git, and then we'll add it to the .git folder. Okay, all this is done in the command line. Okay, so again, if you want to review hidden files and folders, just type ls-a. Okay, if you forget the commands, just type ls -help. This doing something like this will help you to see what are the possible commands that you can use. So ls-a actually is over here. It's basically a short form of all. Okay, so do not ignore entries starting with a dot. So anything with a dot in front usually is a hidden file or folder. So when you type ls, normally that won't be revealed, won't be shown. But if you type ls-a, it will be shown. Okay. So let me clear this up. If you forget ls-help. Okay. So that is basics of how to deal with hidden files and folders, ls-a. Okay, so if you forget, just rewind the video, watch again, do what you need to do. But let me just show you how you mark files for saving. Remember, we were supposed to do a git add, and I wanted to do git add file1.odt. Git add, so you have to type everything out, yeah, file1.odt. Okay, then you type it. Okay, so that is what marks the file for addition. So over here, you might see that there's a +1 and ?3 here. If you are more advanced in Git, you can actually take a look at this. But what it's saying is that over here is one file has been added. But in your command line, you will not see this. You'll more likely see this is the case. There's just a blank file there. And how then do you check? How then do you know which files have been added and which file has not been added? Okay. the way to do it is a similar thing to ls, where you have to list out, and that thing is called git status. Okay, git status. It says here no commits yet, changes to be committed. Is it new file? Okay, so this is how you mark files for saving, right? Mark files for saving. You will see this git add, and then you will have the new file to be committed down here. Now, what is this commit? Okay, a commit is it's basically you saving a version of your whole folder. Okay, it's you saving a version of your whole folder to this git folder right here, the .git folder. So okay, so remember just now I wanted to mark two files to be added. So file1 and new file.odt. So git add. So I want to save these two files. So I need to mark these two files. Okay, git add new file.odt. Okay, again, you type in manually. Okay, and then you type git status. Okay, this will now show you that there are two files that you have marked to be saved. Okay, you have marked them to be saved. Okay, so this is how you mark files to be saved. Then what is the next step? You want to save the files, right? To save the files, you need to do git commit. Okay, but if you do this, you get an error. Okay, let me quit first. You get an error, or you'll be brought into an editor. Okay, okay, if you type git commit, chances are you'll be brought into an editor. So this is NeoVim, or Vim. Is this Vim or NeoVim? Yeah, this is Vim. Okay, so don't worry. Here, we're not gonna deal with Vim. And if you ever find yourself in Vim, I'll teach you how to escape. Okay, so press the escape button 2 times, or 3 times, and then you just type :Q and enter. Okay, :Q and enter. So quit. You quit Vim like this. Escape 2 times, just press escape 2 times and :Q. Okay, there's a reason why you do the escape, but don't worry about it. That thing will deal with in future. Now, if you run into an error, and you cannot escape, just use the exclamation mark like so, :Q with an exclamation mark. Then you press enter, you should be able to quit. Okay, so this is how you quit Vim. Okay, so never mind. So we want to save the files, right? So we'll use the git commit command. Okay, if you don't want to use this editor you don't want to run into this editor, you can actually just use git commit with a -m. This will not only save these two files into this git folder, it will also give you a way to look back at your old file saves, your old versions, and yeah, you can actually leave a comment there that says, hey, I saved file1 odt and new file.odt. So these are comments, okay, or commit messages. That's the proper name. So okay, my commit message, okay, is my comments as to why I saved these new files. Okay, I am adding new files, new LibreOffice files. So this is my commit message or my comments, so that if I look back at if I look back through the previous versions of saving new files, I can actually read these comments, and you'll probably know why you saved it. Okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, so now basically, when you do the git commit command, you have saved these two files into the .git folder. Okay, if I use git status, okay, it will say that there are two untracked files. So these are files that are inside the git folder, but you have not marked them to be saved. Okay, so this is the basics of git. Okay, now if you actually go into your git repository, or the .git folder, okay, you're not likely be able to find these two files individually, but you can try. Okay, so remember, ls is to list out all the files. If you want to, review again the git folder, you use ls-a, okay, you'll be brought to this file. If you want to, you'll notice that this is a folder, right? If you look in the file explorer, I can just click it and it will go inside here. Now, and then you will find some files. Okay, so I'll click it. I will so-called navigate into this directory. How do you do this in the terminal? Okay, so you use the cd command. Cd is for change directory. So ls and cd, these are your two key commands. So cd, then you use the .git. You have to type it out. Okay, and then once you do that, you'll be able to navigate into your git directory and you just type ls. Okay, you look, all these files and folders are here. So these are exactly the same as what you see here. Okay, that's the cd command. Cd stands for change directory. All right. Now, if you go in here, there'll be lots of stuff here. These objects, you will not be able to make much sense of what's inside this objects folder. Okay, info, pack. Okay, all of this you'll not be able to make sense of it, but you can be sure that the data is saved inside here somehow. So I've not actually explored what's inside here. Okay, but all the files, all your old copies of your file are saved into this .git file. Now, if you want to go back, let's say you're in this file, what you can do to navigate up one level, okay, to the new writer file doc folder, you can just click it on it here in the file explorer. In Windows, you can just use one folder up. Now, how do you do this on the terminal? Okay, use the cd command and then you type ... Okay, ... Okay, cd ... and you move up one file. Okay, again is cd space ... Okay, cd space ... Okay, this is how you go up one folder. Now, if you type ls, you'll be back into this folder here where you have a blank presentation, the ODS file, etc., etc. Okay, so now you are back here. Okay. All right, so let's say I want to again add these two files. Okay, add these two files, right? I want to add them inside Git. I want to track them, so to speak. So to the proper way, the proper name, I think, for so-called marking a file to be saved is called the it's called tracking. Okay, we add files to be tracked. So we mark them for saving. So the proper lingo is called track. So we want to track these two files. Okay, so there's more than one way, of course, to track these files. So if you want to, okay, maybe that's too much. I don't want to introduce too much. Okay, so let's say if you want to introduce these files and you want to track them, I want to use git add blank presentation, right? You notice that the name blank presentation is pretty long, and then you can have typos along the way. So yes, you can actually, of course, you can type the whole thing out manually, but we want to be, we want to have things a little bit more convenient. So the way that you do it is to type the tab, tab. You type tab. When you type tab, you'll be able to use the auto completion function. Okay, so again, git add, type the first few letters, type tab, and you will be able to be auto completed. So autocomplete in the terminal, you just type tab. All right. So type enter. Okay, git status. Okay, now the tab doesn't just work for files and folders. It works also for Linux commands in general. So if I put st and I type tab, okay, you'll be sta over here because well, there's more than one git command that starts with sta. So if you're not sure what commands these are, you can type double tab. Okay, normally you will find these things over here. The autocomplete will tell you, hey, there are 3 commands that start with sta. They are stage, stash, and status. So if you want to complete the git status command, just type stat and then tab again. Why are you doing that? Because while all these three commands start with sta, only status starts with a stat. So once you type stat and you type the tab command, okay, once you type this stat, you'll be able to type the git status out, no problem. Okay, what does it show you? It will have a new blank presentation and my sheet.ods right here. Okay, so I can type git add my sheet. I just type the tab again and you'll be able to track the file. Okay, and then if I want to commit, then I will use git commit. Okay, git space commit -m, and then you need to have your open and close quotes. Okay, added blank presentation. So this is my commit message and my sheet. Okay, this is your commit message. You can write whatever you want, but when you look back, okay, never mind. That's too much information. Forget it. Just do it like that. So this again will save things to your Git folder. So we have a little bit now practice now with a new Git folder. Now, if you want to, you know, try the whole thing again, you can remove your Git folder. Okay, remove your Git folder and you do the whole thing again. Okay. So let me do a clear over here. And if you want to remove, there are two ways. Of course, you can use the graphical user interface or you use the rm command. Rm command actually is the remove command. So I can use remove.git. This is how you might do it in PowerShell. Okay, but in Linux, you need to do more than that. Okay, so normally, if you want to remove a file, not a folder, if you want to remove a file, this is enough. Remove.git. But if I want to remove a whole folder, running this will actually find ourselves, we'll have an error. Okay, it says I cannot remove.git because it's a directory. So the way to do it is to rm-r f. Okay, the R here is recursive. That means you remove a whole folder. F is to force. Okay, if you're not sure, again type the help command. Okay, almost every thing in the terminal has a help command. You use the --help. So F is the force command. Ignore non-existent files and arguments. So you will not be prompted to whether you want to remove something. And this R down here is a recursive. So it removes directories and their contents recursively. But it just removes the folder. That's how you know you do it. So rm-rf.git. Okay, and then suddenly now your git file is gone. Okay, you can use the git init again. Now you can use git init to start the file again, and if you actually use the git add, you will say, oh, this is not a git repository. Okay, so yeah, so remember just now we can use the git init to make a new file or folder. Now if you do, okay, so I think that's too long. We already reached almost 30-40 minutes, so I will save my stuff for the next video, and I'll see you next time. So this is just a introduction to Git in the command line and the command line. So that's a fair bit to take in if you're not interested, if you're not familiar with the command line. Okay, so see you.